everyone, I'm Aria and welcome to another speed build. So today I have my part of the Baby It's Cold Outside winter collab hosted by Create4Sims over on Instagram. And I have to admit, I was so excited when I was invited to join in this collab. I see so many different collabs on Instagram all the time and I don't really I'm not very active on there, so I don't really get invited to them very often. And so when I was invited to this one, I jumped at it because it just seems like such a fun idea and I was just honestly so excited to be invited. So yeah. So this collab is to turn Windenburg into basically like a really cozy Christmas world. There's lots of different styles and each little area of Windenburg has got like a different type of build or like a different style build. And this area up here is like the Christmas village, and the lot that I was assigned was like Santa's house. It was a community lot, so I had to try and figure out how to basically build Santa's house but also make it a community lot. So it was a really fun challenge and I decided to build a restaurant. So I obviously needed it to be, or needed it to look like Santa's house. So I thought maybe I could turn it into like a breakfast restaurant and then it could be like a breakfast with Santa sort of situation. So you're going to Santa's house to have breakfast with him, but it's a restaurant. Does that make sense? I thought it was a fun idea and I am really pleased with the way that it turns out. It's probably a little bit small upstairs, but I've put like a little photo studio sort of thing up there with the bathroom, so your sim children, toddlers, any of your sims to be honest, can go up there and have a picture with Santa before or after they have some food. I've set the menu to brunch, but obviously you can change it to whichever menu you prefer. And I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. It's a little bit quirky in my opinion, but then you know what I'm like, I quite like this kind of fantasy, a little bit strange style. It's not really very, you don't see it very often. So I really like that and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. It's very like cartoony to me with like the green roof and everything, but once it's got all the snow on it you can't really see any of that anyway. I really had a odd time trying to roof this little bit of this section here. I didn't really know how to, because when I put the platforms in it was then showing through on the inside and I couldn't get it to not do that without having to use like 10 different roof pieces. So I managed it eventually, but it does kind of look a little bit strange, but you know, once it's covered in snow you can't see it anyway, so it's fine. This will be the whole thing is being put together by Milo, I think on Instagram, Milo Farmer, into a big save file. So if you wanted to download this whole thing then you can. It does or will most likely use all of the packs. I haven't restricted any in my build and there are so many other simmers in this collab that I'm sure they haven't restricted their packs either, so it will probably use all if not most of the packs, but the save file will be available for everyone to download if you would like to. This build will be on the gallery, tray files will be on Tumblr, etc as usual. So I wanted to add quite a lot of fun details to this, so I've used this little, I think it's an urn from Journey to Batu, but it was in the perfect color that I wanted to match these like roof details. And then a little bit later I found a really fun way of creating I guess it's kind of like a Santa hat, but I've used a item from Seasons, I think. It's like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a wicker basket with fruit in it, and rotated upside down it kind of looks a little bit like it could pass as a hat. And then I've just put some snowballs on it, and to me it just looks really fun. So I used the same urns I used to decorate the roof to create these sort of really intricate sort of columns, which I think are really fun. So this is the item I've used to create Santa's hat. I think it looks really cool. I probably could have done it a little bit bigger, but I just wanted it to be like a fun little detail. I found a image on Pinterest, which is where I got the inspiration from for this build from, and there was like a little hat on the top of the building. So I wanted to try and recreate it if I could, and I think I did okay. From far away it doesn't look wicker, well, it doesn't look woven, should I say. It actually looks like a hat, so I'm really pleased with how that one turned out. But the style for this area up here was meant to be like traditional European, I think. So I remembered when I went to, I think I was in Belgium, there was quite a lot of older buildings that were really bright and colourful, especially around Christmas time when they had like the Christmas markets, and I kind of took inspiration from that. So it's kind of taken it a little bit from real life, but most of it's sort of my imagination and fantasy style as well. I wanted to put my own kind of spin on it, if that makes sense. But I did take inspiration from real life, so hopefully you can see that if you know what I'm talking about. So the kitchen in here is a bit of an odd shape. It's pretty small, but when I play tested it, none of the Sims really needed to use anything other than the big chef station. So this section here is more just to kind of add some detail and fill in the gap. But my Sim who owned the restaurant was constantly going in and out, but I guess if you're managing a big business like this, you would probably be constantly going in and out of the kitchen, checking everything's, you know, working right. So I put some security cameras around just for like extra detail. I thought it was like a little bit more, add some realism, I guess. I wanted to fill in the spaces, but I wanted it to look as true to what like an actual restaurant would look like, if that makes sense. So I've put these fire escape signs, and there's some like warning signs I think above the sink in the kitchen and above the fire extinguisher. So when it came to adding some chairs and things in here, I decided to go with this long one from the holiday celebration pack, and then add these tiny little ones that you can see after I've played around with the Christmas tree. They're little tables, like little round tables with I think they've got like tablecloths on them. Eventually I delete one and only use two because I put a fireplace where the red table currently is. I put a chimney up on the roof right at the beginning, and then when it came to like quite near the end, I went upstairs to do the decorating up there and realised that I'd put a chimney on the roof and there was no fireplace. So I tried to put one upstairs, thinking that it would maybe fit where some of the presents are and it could go into like the photo that I've kind of set up, but it didn't really fit. It wasn't really big enough, so I end up just putting a tree and some presents up there and putting the fireplace down here, and to be honest it looks a lot better. So I've added quite a lot of decoration to the big table, not so much the little ones. I've just put these little candles and then I've put some holiday crackers. But the big table I add quite a lot of decoration to. I have play tested it and it worked okay for me. There was a little bit of clipping in some places, but not really enough that would interfere, you know, so it's more just for it to look nice. So if it doesn't work or you don't like it, then, you know, just delete it. It doesn't really add anything other than just for it to look nice for you. So you know. I think I've also put some menus on the big table too, because I was thinking of things to add. I was gonna put a couple of things on the chef station, like bar area, but to be honest, I didn't really think it was necessary. I put some I think they're like snowflake lights. I put them all around the room. I put them everywhere. But I also put them so that they're kind of hanging down over the chef station, and I think they look really nice. I didn't realize that they actually like flashed. I thought that they just lit up a little bit, but they kind of twinkle, which I think is fun. So up here on this little platform, I put a big chair, I put a Christmas tree and a bunch of presents. I have angled the camera, or like placed the camera in such a way that you shouldn't need to move it. It should like show you exactly the picture that I had in mind, if that makes sense. Like everything's in the frame, but obviously you can move it to wherever you'd like to get whatever kind of angle you like. So the last couple of builds that I did for my mini Winterfest series, I didn't have too many Christmas decorations in, and that was because I had this one planned and had actually already built this one. So I kind of felt like I'd gone way over the top with the Christmas decorations in this one, and then when it came to some of the builds in that series, I kind of felt like I'd kind of Christmas decorated myself out, if that makes sense. So if you were wondering why they weren't particularly overly Christmassy, it's because of this one. But I think I did okay. Like, I'm pretty proud of how this one turned out. It's a little bit over the top, but that was the whole point. I wanted it to be a little bit novelty in a way, but still fun. And you know, I created a couple of sims that you will see in the screenshots at the end, just to kind of play test it and just to see whether it like would work. But I think it turned out really cute, so hopefully if you like it and you want to download it, it will be a fun place for your sims maybe to go and have breakfast on Winterfest morning, or you know, just any kind of day in winter, I guess, if you wanted to. I think it'd be really fun. So because these cottage living windows aren't meant to actually go together from the outside, I figured out a way to make them line up and cover the bits over so that they look like they're meant to be together, but from the inside they've got slightly different like window frames, so they don't quite line up properly. I put a sofa in front of the one near the entrance, and I think that one covers it up really well, but when it came to the one behind the big dining table, I couldn't find anything that didn't cover it up too much. I was thinking about using one of the bar seats from Dine Out, but it covered up the window way too much, so I ended up thinking like I'll just leave it and you probably won't really notice it anyway. I play with the walls like half up half down, so I don't really pay attention really to the walls, but I know some people like to play with the walls up, so it might bother you, but hopefully it's not. Hopefully it won't. Just put some of these garlands over it or something. You maybe won't see it. So I put these all around the ceiling, basically. I put them everywhere, and I put these little things with the are they acorns? No, they're pine cones, with the pine cones on every single corner, just to kind of cover up the gap, and then use the tool mod to angle them so that they kind of aren't facing one particular way, they're like facing out on the angle. And then put these snowflake lights underneath every single one. I think I actually put them under the curtains too, where I haven't put the garland, so they are everywhere. But I think they look really nice. I did have a hard time trying to pick out some wall decorations that didn't make it look really clashy. So I've just used the little wooden boards that we got with the holiday celebration pack. I think they're like chalkboards. They've got some trees on, there's some snowmen, reindeer, and I think there's maybe holly and some words, I'm not sure, but I've put them, I think, mostly where the gaps kind of are, if that makes sense. I didn't really know what else to include, because half of them, like I said in another video, I think it was, I don't know, a couple videos ago, I don't remember, I've done so many this month. I said that we don't really have very many wintry themed pictures or like wall decorations that aren't Winterfest themed, if that makes sense. So like just snow or like just a nice scenery sort of picture. We don't really have anything like that for winter, so you kind of have to either don't include any, or it has to be winter themed or Winterfest themed, sorry. So it was a little bit annoying, but I ended up just sticking with the little chalkboard things, and I think they look really cute. I've also used the bows that we got with the update last week or the week before, I don't remember, just to add a little bit more kind of interest. So eventually I swap the chair and the Christmas tree over. When I go to try and place the camera, I end up finding that the camera would kind of sit where the stairs are, if that makes sense. So as you can see here, there was kind of the only place that I could put it, so I end up leaving it here and just swapping everything over. But I think it turned out really cute. I quite like the little area that I've made up here. I didn't have any problem with my sim actually sitting in the chair on its own, and then when it came to using the pose player, I again had no issues. So hopefully if that's what you want to use it for, then I think it would be really cute, and I'd love to see screenshots if you do use it. I have included one at the end, so hopefully that's kind of just to give you an idea, you know. So up here in the bathroom, I only decorate one, and then I copy and paste the room over into the opposite side, so they're exactly the same. I use most of the Dream Home Decorator cabinets just to make it look nice. I really like the look of it. I use a tiny living mirror, I think. Yep. I was going to use the big wall one, but it was just way too big, and I didn't really like the look of it, and I thought that this one, it was very simple and just a lot cleaner, you know. So the last thing that I do after I finish this bathroom is a little bit of landscaping. I didn't know what the other people in the club were doing in terms of landscaping in this area. I think one of the builds next door is like the town hall, and then I'm not sure what the other side is, don't remember, but they're not like residential homes, so I didn't want to go too all out with the landscaping, so I basically just copied what was already in the world, and it's not my favorite, but I think it definitely fits in a little bit better than what my usual landscaping would be. But anyway, we are coming to the end of today's video and this year's video, so I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I will link the Instagram post down below so you can check out all the other collaborators in this little project. It was super fun, and they're all very talented, so go and check them all out. But yeah, I hope you all have a lovely holiday if you celebrate, and I will see you all next year. Bye everyone.